boom, shaka-laka boom. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It's a FAFO Friday here on the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN on 103.9 FM, WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. If you want the audio-only stream, just search WYAB. Also, for the benefit of those with fancy devices, internet-capable televisions, and computers, we are streaming in 4K video, allegedly, at Save JXN on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. It's the Rumble in the jungle. Boy, isn't that true? Anyhow, good morning, Shaun.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Man, pretty good. First thing I thought of this morning was, what was the number of days we're on to the Chokeway countdown? And it's next Friday's the deadline.
7 days.
Yeah, a week from today, he's got till 5 o'clock. Still hadn't filed.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Chokeway he's got to put in his campaign file. He's got to file his campaign finance reports for the last 4 years to qualify for mayor.
Yeah,
he has not done that, and the countdown is on to qualify. So we shall see. We shall see. Real quick before we dive into that, happy birthday to my dad. Today,
happy birthday.
76, I believe. Born in 49. This is 25, so 76.
Oh, our dads are the same age. My dad's about to be 76 also.
Yeah, so happy birthday to Pops. And that's really about it. We'll hit some other stuff. Don't forget, this Sunday, Shaun and I will be out at Cypress Point at Cameron's Garage, big sports bar out there for round 2 of our three live remotes we got planned out there. It is the AFC, NFC championship games. We'll get into all that and more, some big football. I do want to talk a little football in the second hour, kind of break up the monotony a little bit. So we'll break down the games. Buffalo versus KC and Washington versus Philly. Got a divisional game over there in the NFC. It'll be the third time they've met this year. I don't know what the record is for the previous two, but we'll get all that together. Usually, I don't know. Nobody wins 3. Nobody ever wins 3.
Yeah, I think Philly won the first one and Washington won the second one because Jalen Hurts got that concussion in the middle of the game. I think that's right. I have to double check. But
cool.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Shaun, you have a mohawk.
Oh, do I this morning? Man, I just got to bed and kind of rolled out here. I didn't fix my hair this morning, so I should have worn a hat.
All good. Well, so we'll get into that in hour 2, and we'll tell you more about the live remote and all the good stuff going on out there, the prizes we got from Southern Beverage, and more. But let's get started, shall we? Shaun.
Yeah, well, I guess we were just talking about, Chokeway's got till Friday at 5 to qualify. And I don't know if you talked about this yesterday. No, I caught some of the show, but the filing that Carlos Tanner, Aaron Banks' attorney, made. Did you guys get to discuss that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, there was a filing that Carlos Tanner, he represents City Councilman Aaron Banks, who's also charged in the Jackson bribery scandal, and he filed a motion to get new trial dates, basically. It's a continuance, to get an extension on the case. And what he says in the actual motion is pretty interesting, because he's saying that they had not got discovery when they picked the first trial dates. After the January date, they picked some new ones, which I think are in May, and they hadn't got the first round of discovery from the federal government. Well, then they got it, the first round, and he's like, holy hell. Just in layman's terms is kind of what it was. And what he says is there's so much in there that's not included in the indictment, which we all saw the indictment, how inclusive that was with all those statements that Jody Owens had made, and now everybody knows what he said. So so there's so much stuff and so much exhaustive investigative efforts that go far beyond the actual real estate development thing, it seems like. There's so much other things that were out there, so many hours of recording. I think there's about 600 hours of what I'm hearing on the street, kind of recordings of these guys. So basically, he's got to go shift through all this stuff. And what I think that is, because what I've heard, and I think maybe Clay's probably heard this, is that, Aaron Banks may be in the process of making a deal with the federal government, and which makes sense, and that he would do that because he seems to be the least culpable of all of them. And he wants, I think Carlos probably wants some more time to work that out, and also to look through all this kind of discovery. So to put it simply, there's a lot of other stuff possibly that Chokeway and Jody did, and we don't know what it is yet, and we may eventually find out. So.
Yeah, so like I've been saying, and I'll stick with this, this was not their first rodeo.
No.
There's more stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to find it, I presume. Like I said, not their first rodeo. They were all way too casual about this, way too procedural, especially Chokwe. Chokwe, I refuse to say his name the way he says we're supposed to. I'm not saying.
How does he say it? How do we say it?
Chokwe.
Chokwe.
There ain't no damn U in his name. It's an O. It's Chok. It's CHOCK. In any other world, that's Chok, not Shuck. So we don't get to make up names and how they're pronounced. So it's Chokwe. I'm not talking about you. I accidentally said Chuck.
No,
myself here.
I just made me think of something as somebody with a difficult last name. And I've never I never correct people, right? Because I just figure, hey, like, man, it's hard. Like, it's stupid to sit there and like I was in court Wednesday and it was over in Clinton and the judge kept trying. I said, Judge, however you want to say it, I'm good with. They always say that, like, however. And I feel like it's kind of arrogant to be like, well, this is how you properly say it. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like when people do that.
No, me either. If you guys are watching online, and one of the streaming platforms, please hit the share button. Let's blow up this FAFO Friday. Have a big old show because we're going to talk about a lot of fun topics. Yesterday was a big news day, to say the least. And with the executive orders and stuff Trump signed, Shaun and I have not got to do a show since the inauguration, so we've got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We didn't get into any sports stuff at our live. We didn't get into any political stuff at our live remote Monday. So I got some pent up stuff I want to talk about with Shaun. Let me see here. Hey, as far as Chokwe goes and this whole thing, like I agree. There's going to be a lot of stuff come out, and I want to when he files those campaign finance reports. Because look, it's like this. And I was having lunch with some folks yesterday and thought about this. One or two things. I mean, they can still subpoena those reports. I mean, he can't just hide them forever.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on. Well, yeah, I mean, they can subpoena his bank records for sure. Yeah, they can get all that. So his financial information for sure. They can do that.
Well, yeah, they can subpoena him. It's the feds. They can subpoena his finance report.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can do that.
So I don't know. I was thinking about it. I don't know that there's any upside. If I agree with you, but as I was kind of peeling the onion back yesterday, if they want those damn things, they can get them. Whether he files today or never, they can still get them.
Yeah, they
can. So I don't know if the theory that, as much as I like it, I don't know that the theory of not filing them keeps them from having the blueprint, the roadmap to his crimes, allegedly.
Yeah, well, I think I see what you're saying. I think the other thing is, though, is there stuff that they know about that he is going to omit from the report? I think that would show culpability. If he's going to omit something they know about, that he did take some campaign money, contribution, and he doesn't put that on the report, and he never deposited, let's say, or whatever.
Well, like he took cash.
Yeah, he took cash. And
there's no way to prove that.
Well, I mean, if it was a CI, it is, right? If it was another, because there could be those kind of.
I got you.
Yeah.
Very, very long tentacles here.
Yeah, I think, sure. And I think Carlos says in his motion, I think that's what we're going to, there's other things out there that this stretches so far, so I'm just wondering if they're doing, like
kind of setting the bait out there to see if he lies to the feds.
Exactly, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, that's why as his lawyer, I'd be like, you ain't filing anything. Don't give him another lie or whatever. I did get a text from Kara Shirley. She says she's got an interview with the mayor on February 24th to discuss his run for mayor, and so she was thinking that maybe he's obviously running to gonna file. I think he could be setting interviews and still faking everybody out, though.
I mean, that's the first thing that came to mind. Not to rain on her parade.
No.
But I agree. I think you move forward business as usual, and you can always cancel.
Yeah, absolutely, you can cancel. And I mean, the thing is, like, what is confusing to me is if you're running on this political prosecution thing, you do what Trump did, right? You're the first person out there. You're saying you're not going to stop me. And you remember he qualified like the earliest you could, like in November of 22, I think it was. So I think you do that. If you say I'm innocent, I didn't do this, you go with that route. Chokwe is waiting till the 11th hour, I think, and that's kind of that's confusing to me why he wasn't out there on January 2nd filing. And the only thing I can think of is because this has become so complicated his financial records, that they're making a lot of decisions. And there's probably, like, in his little war room with his lawyers, there's probably half the lawyers are like, you cannot do this. Because I know I would be sitting there saying that, do not do this. And then there's half that are like, on probably the Detroit folks that are all like, we're going to play the politics part of this. And they're telling him, you need to do that for the politics. And, there's probably two strategies going on there. And because there's a bunch of lawyers there, and they're all probably arguing with each other.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It is going to be amazingly interesting, but especially with, this revelation that we knew there was more. We knew that there was more out there that he's possibly done. And now there's some confirmation to that in that filing. And we'll, maybe we'll never get to see it if he pleads guilty. I feel like, I had a conversation with somebody that knows him well and recently, and they said that, he's just too arrogant to do it. And I think that's probably true. He's so arrogant that he's going to have this, self-sacrifice trial that he, which is good for all of us. We get to watch this, but I think that's what he's going to do.
No, that's what I want.
Yeah, right.
That's what I want. Rebel Ray on X asked, "Is Kim Wade running?" And yes, Kim Wade, he has not qualified yet, but Kim Wade, he's gone as far as to get a campaign office and some other things, and he is definitely moving forward. We got a Kim Wade Election Day sign in here. He's got updated signs and everything else. I am taking Kim at his word that he is in fact running. I don't know what he's waiting on to get qualified, but that's on him.
There's another guy I heard about, Ronnie DePriest. Have you heard of this guy?
I saw that name pop up the other day. Somebody sent me a screenshot or something of a guy.
And he's a white guy that's running that apparently has a lot of black support, is what I hear. So, I don't know. I don't know anything about him.
Me either. I would say good luck. I did see where Zach Service.
He's been out there on social media pretty good, right?
I think he is running he's decided to run for mayor instead of council.
As independent. And then this morning I did see that Ashby Foote
is running as an independent for council. What is he now?
Republican.
Is he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he drew an opponent in that race too, Grace Green, in that district, and she's running as independent. So independent, yeah.
Well, I don't understand the point. You've been a Republican. Do you feel like it's that toxic?
He said no. That's not what he said. That he didn't want to preclude Republicans from voting in the Democratic primary in the mayoral race. Because if they had to vote for him in his ward, he didn't want them to I guess basically what he's saying is, I want everybody that can vote to vote against Chalkway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the way I took that. So.
Got it.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. So, but that's a strategy that's been used before, obviously. And I think at least that's what he said, and that seems to be the implication that he wants everybody in Ward 1, Northeast Jackson, that's out there to say I can vote in the Democratic primary against the mayor.
I got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. Corinthians says, I told y'all that the MSGOP has failed local candidates. Well, I believe, look, let's just be honest when it comes to these local races in Jackson. It's really a waste of time and money and resources. It's a waste of resources for MSGOP to do a whole lot when it comes to Jackson races, just based on the demographics and politics and all that involved here. I'm not saying that you can't get behind a candidate and win here and there and in a certain ward, but it's tough for a white Republican to win. I think that Ashby will be the last one.
Yeah, I mean,
he will be the last Republican that wins a race inside the city of Jackson for the foreseeable future. Hold that thought. We got to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN. Breaking rules when necessary. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun YURTKURAN on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, and in 4K video, search Save JXN at Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and once you get there and you're watching something live like right now, hit that share button, man, please. If you're watching on YouTube, just share. Send it to the last person you sent a text message to, the last 5 people you sent a text message to. We want to grow this platform, and it's working. Every little bit helps. Even if just one person does it, that's one more person that did it. So I do appreciate that. Real quick, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. You want to shoot in a text. Don't text and drive. But other than that, text when you get to the red light. I'm kidding. With that said, speaking of guns and gear, get out there this weekend and what's the word I'm looking for here? Take advantage of your Second Amendment rights by buying a gun. That's right. You can get out there to Guns and Gear, buy all the guns your little heart desires, as long as you can pass a federal background check, which most of you should. It happens if you can't. I understand. Masturbation will soon be a felony in the state of Mississippi if Democrats have anything to say about it. So buy all the guns you can now, so you won't have to worry about failing a background check for that reason anyway, and get all the accessories you want, because they got them at Guns and Gear, located right there, Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. Also, you can shop them online, gunsandgear.co. Guns in, the letter N, not and, gunsandgear.co. And, of course, go search them on Facebook. Just type in Guns and Gear Gluckstadt and check out their deals of the day. Make sure you're following their stories. You can post a lot more stuff as a gun store in your stories than you can on the timeline. And I did learn that Facebook's AI does, in fact, read your stories, too, and they will shadow ban and de-rank people like me and gun stores and all of that. So hopefully their new censorship or lack thereof stuff will kick in soon, and we won't have to worry about that quite as much. But in the meantime, every now and then you actually got to go to the pages and click on them and see what the deal of the day is, and do that at Guns and Gear. Check them out. Swing by. They can also take care of all your Cerakoting and gunsmithing needs as well. And, of course, they will buy your guns. If you're in a bind and need to sell a gun, need to do something for your wife, Valentine's is coming up, guys. If you can't just give her the gun, maybe you need to give her something other than a gun. They will buy your gun, and they will get you out of a pinch there. And then you can run over to Juniker Jewelry and pick you up a nice set of earrings, a ring, a necklace, or whatever else that your wife's or girlfriend may desire. So, two birds, one stone right there. And don't forget this Monday, the boss man himself and Tyler Tharp will be, Hunter Sarton from Guns and Gear and Tyler Tharp with Synergy Shooting Solutions will be here in the studio with me for another 2A roundtable discussing all the new gun laws or less restrictions that may come with Donald Trump, and just, all the stuff with the new administration and some of the bullets we dodged, literally and figuratively, with a Kamala presidency and the attack on our Second Amendments. So it should be a really, really good show Monday. All right, that's Guns and Gear. Highway 51 North, Gluckstadt, Mississippi, right there at Yandell Road. Shaun, YURTKURAN. Finish your thought. We were talking about Republicans not being able to. I don't think another Republican will win a local seat here in Jackson. Your thoughts?
Yeah, just real briefly. So Carrie also said that Kim, you were talking about Kim Wade. Somebody asked about that. He's going to be interviewing with her too here in the next few weeks about his mayoral run. So looks like he is running. And she's no,
he's running.
Yeah. So she just sent me that, and she's interviewing all the candidates for mayor. She's interviewing all the candidates for mayor next month. So I guess we'll get to hear from them and see who's going to possibly be the next mayor of Jackson, and hopefully we know who we don't want it to be. But I agree with you about there's not any obviously you want to correlate this anyway because it's obvious. There's not any, I think, county-wide elected officials that are white Republicans in Jackson anymore. I mean, in Hinds County at all. So that the last one I think was probably Barbara Dunn, and maybe
The only Republicans in the entire county that I don't even know their names, but it'll be in Byram for now, and it'll be in Clinton.
Yeah,
those will be the only people, and those aren't county; those are cities.
Sure, right.
But they're in Hinds County. Those are the last of the Mohicans. I mean, maybe there's somebody in Terry or both. I don't know, but maybe in Raymond. But I don't think so. Best of my knowledge, the only elected Republicans in the entire county of Hinds are going to be in Byram. You got the mayor, maybe a councilman or two, and you got Clinton.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. After Ashby, I mean, that whole Northeast Jackson is. I mean, I think probably a Democrat could probably win that now if they got out the vote. I would think,
Probably, yeah.
I would think they'd be able to if they were able to do that. So
I mean, Northeast Jackson has fallen. I mean, DC has fallen. Well, Northeast Jackson, it's been taken over. It's just will they vote?
Yeah, so you're right. It's if you can get out the vote in that area. I mean, actually, I didn't know this, and Kingfish told me this a week ago. So my Ward 7, which encompasses Bellhaven, is actually predominantly black. but it's had a white council person for forever, it's apparently it's only like 30 or 40% white. And I was like, I did not know that. I just assumed it was majority white, and he told me differently. He said, no, that's not. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So, that'll maybe that'll help our friend Corinthian out there. He's got a lot of black votes he can go get there, and white votes too. But it's not just given that a white person's going to win that district. So.
Well, the district is bigger than just Belhaven.
Yeah, I know it is. I just assumed that was the largest part or whatever. I didn't know that it was. I didn't know that it was predominantly black in that district. So.
Gotcha. Pivoting from extremely local politics here to, of course, we'll be covering all that. If you're running for office in Jackson or in the Tri-County area and you want to come on the Clay Edwards Show or any other show here on WYAB, it ain't free. We do charge. So that way we don't have to interview 7 or 8 people running for one seat where 5 of them don't have a chance of winning and waste time and all that good stuff with the equal airtime stuff with the FCC. We do charge for interviews. If you are interested, reach out to me. But it ain't cheap. But there's a reason it ain't cheap. It's because we got the big signal and we got all the listeners. So you want to get your word out there, this is a great place to do it. So clay@wyab.com, and I'll shoot you over political advertising rates and all that good stuff. Otherwise, I just want to put that out there. Don't ask me for interviews unless you are ready to pay. Had that come up over the weekend. All right, Shaun, so could you imagine being friends with the guy who's trying to make sex illegal? Unless you're intending to impregnate. I mean, you're already dating the girl that banned porn.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine also being friends with the guy that made sex illegal?
Yeah, I was
circle of trust. You, Bradford Blackman. Circle of trust. You're outside the circle of trust. We ain't bros no more, bro.
Well, we were talking about that when speaking of banning porn with Lindsay last night. My question is, who's on the enforcement team? Like, first of all, cultivating the suspects is very easy. It's every man in America or the state, right? Okay, yeah. We got all the suspects. So how do you catch them? Do you sit below someone's window with like a light and just wait till it gets to a certain hour and they're alone? I mean, how do you what's the enforcement mechanism of this?
Like somebody's younger brother and sister. Let's just take it to the teenage level.
Yeah,
somebody's younger brother and sister. They've been in the bathroom for a long time, and I don't smell poo poo, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to.
Ain't no hot water left.
What's the ad on the?
What's all the Jergens?
Yeah, right. Who used? Yeah.
Why does it look like somebody stuck a banana in the Vaseline jar?
I mean, that's like it. Yeah, I just I was wondering, what's the ad on the state personnel website for people to join the enforcement team?
Well, I suggested yesterday on the show, if they do away with the income tax, you're going to have a lot of Department of Revenue agents that won't be stalking and harassing people. Maybe they can move them over to masturbation
eradication team.
Masturbation eradication
team. And who's going to be what agency? DPS. Is in charge. Sean Tyndall's in charge of this. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, it was political theater. But.
Well, so I know he didn't intend for it to be this way, but it is the most extreme attack. It's the most extreme anti-LGBTQ bill ever proposed in the history of the United States.
It's kind of true, and I could see that, yeah, because they can't procreate. So
no, right? Yeah, so literally every time they have sex, it's a violation of this law.
Did someone point that out to him? I'm sure.
Clay Edwards did.
Oh, you did? That's great. Yeah. It is. You're right. I mean, it absolutely is.
And, of course, then a bunch of left-wing nut jobs got in my comments, this is not anti-LGBTQ. I said if a Republican did it, y'all would be screaming. Your hair would be on fire.
That's actually true. You're right about that. I mean, they would go – I mean, they would. I mean – because I could see in the past some conservative legislation to that effect, because there has been. I mean, right? Was there anti-sodomy laws and all those things? I mean,
well, the anti-sodomy is still illegal in Mississippi to have anal.
Yeah, so I mean, there's those things.
Talk about laws we don't imagine having to enforce that one.
That's it. I mean,
get the brooms.
Now, I think it would have been smarter for okay, if you want to talk about, obviously his point was to bring up about Roe v. Wade, and I get it, okay, but there is an issue about men not taking care of children but that they father, right? We all know that that's an issue. And how do you rectify that, and what mechanisms and stuff? I think that would be a smarter discussion to have rather than, trying to ban masturbation. Because I think that's kind of where he's going. Like, why are there not restrictions on men? But really the way you want to extend that to is that, like, there's a lot of guys out there that are deadbeat dads, and that needs to be rectified. And what do we do as a society and by laws we pass to rectify that?
I think low key there's a much bigger problem, not bigger than deadbeat dads, but dads who are forced into deadbeatism by the mother who wants to stay single to milk the system.
You mean like
the mother kicking the man out of the house?
Kicking him out of the house.
Because so she can get more money from the government.
Okay. You think there's a lot of that too? I don't.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that. Introduce Jackson, Mississippi as Exhibit A.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing. It's like the man ain't, the man's not, they are financially rewarded for the man not being in the house.
Yeah, right, that happens. But don't you think there's also a lot of guys that just take off too in Jackson or anywhere else for that matter?
Yeah, I'm saying, but it's also a very big problem.
Right.
It's a bigger problem they want you to think. They want you to think it's just a bunch of lowly single moms who got stiffed over their bad love life choices when that ain't all what it is. It's probably 50-50.
Okay. Well, how would you rectify that one then? Just cut off the benefits, I guess, or the encouragement
100%,
to do that? Yeah,
100%. Quit rewarding women for being knocked up and single.
I don't have an issue with that either. I just, and if that were, part of it, I think that makes sense. I would also, but I said, I do think we need to make it a little harsher on this is a, national problem with men that just, it's gone on as long as time and, that just take off. And I feel like that's something that, we could focus on. Like, why do these guys get away with it so much? Because how many times you heard like, oh yeah, he doesn't pay child support, and then nothing's happening. No,
what's bad is like guys who do, for the most part, pay their child support, but they may be late here and there. Those are the ones, in my understanding, they get the most hell.
Do they really?
Oh yeah, it's like the second they're late, man. The whoever enforces that, DPS, I guess. Not DPS.
Department of Human Services.
Human Services.
Yeah.
DHS. Or, out trying to arrest them and stuff. Like the minute they're late.
And they're the ones that are just are paying.
Yeah, maybe they're slow pay, whatever. They were living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
With some old skank getting 2/3 of their check.
Right.
So here's the other thing. Did you know that they reward women? So if you have 2 kids, we got to take a break, but we have 2 kids with the same guy, you get less money of his check. If you have 2 kids with separate guys, you get more money.
Oh, yeah, right. No, that's what the law is set up.
Yeah,
sure.
After the first
percentages.
Kid, after the first kid, the percentage goes down from dad 1.
Yeah, I understand. That's just.
But if you introduce dad 2, you get more of the check.
That's correct.
And here's how they're rewarding, whether it's through government checks or government rules. They're rewarded by the dad not being in the house. They're rewarded by more dads.
Right, but
being in the mix.
Sure, but that would be the same thing.
She gets more money by having 4 kids from 4 different men if they're paying their child support than 4 kids, same guy, if they're separated.
But that would be the same thing if they were, let's say they were married to the 2 guys or the 3 guys or whatever it is. That would be the same thing. They would still have, the law would still apply in the same way.
The what?
The law would still apply in the same way. They would get a percentage of each one of those person's check. That would be higher than if they had 2 from the same guy. If they had 3 dads, let's say.
You said if they're married.
Even if they were married and they got divorced, right, and they had paying child support, the law would be the same.
Yeah, irrelevant of how they got to child support.
Yeah.
Just my point is, whether it's 3 one-night stands or 3 divorces.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The law's the same, yeah. I understand what you're getting at.
It rewards them for having more baby daddies than having the same baby daddy.
Sure, it would. Yeah.
And there's women out there that are milking that intentionally.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I get your point. It's the business model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that is true. That's the way the law is set up. But.
All right, let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back with Shaun YURTKURAN here on the Clay Edwards Show. We don't have to wear the headphones to do this. It'll just all we hear is the.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have this conversation here. Yeah. Like Shaun, what were you saying? How do you rectify it?
Well, yeah, because here's what I mean. Like, let's say that you were married to 2 people and you had a kid by each of them. You can't give one of the guys a reduction, just because you have, right? You know what I mean? They'd have to pay under law an equal amount. So, like,
bring the first one down too.
You'd have to bring both of them down.
That's what
right?
I'm saying.
Yeah, you'd have to bring right.
Yeah,
like that's the only way you could rectify it. Like,
yeah.
But then I guess the guys are kind of they're catching a break in that scenario, right? Because they're paying less of their income.
Because you can't screw the first guy if he's got 2 kids.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
By raising the second one up. Because if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I mean, you can only get so much blood from a turnip.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. So, like, I don't know. It seems very difficult. So, like, okay, well, let's just say each guy has only got 1 kid by this woman, right? And, what's it, 16% now, I think it is? That's the number. I'm not a chancery or family law folks, but I think if what I remember from law school, so like you drop everybody like, 13% because of that. But then the guys get the benefit of this woman having, I guess, what I'm saying? They would, with different dads. So I don't know. That'd be interesting though. I don't know if that could pass.
I get people all the time that want me to talk about the child support issues on both sides.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never had to pay child support. I had custody of my child.
Right. You didn't run.
And a lot of help from the parents. I don't want to sit here and pretend I was just the greatest, but I had a good support system.
Right.
So, I never got caught up in the child support hustle, but God knows 9 out of 10 friends have.
Yeah. I mean, everybody I know.
So I hear about it constantly. I mean, I got one friend that probably texts me 3 times a week, yapping about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, it's just not my hill to die on, but whatever. Because inevitably you just end up pissing people off on both sides.
Sure.
There are piece of crap dads that don't pay their child support.
Yeah.
And then there are dads that do that are getting wrong,
I'll give you a good example of that, right? So I've seen this actually in court when I've had to go over to Chancery Court. So, like, you see, this is what will make you on the dad's side, when it'll make you mad. So I saw this one time I had to go over to Chancery Court like 10 years ago on it. It was something connected to a criminal case I was prosecuting. So this guy had to wait, and this couple's before me, black family. Guy's paid for his kid, because 21 is the age that you pay up to. And so he had paid for his daughter. She's in Mississippi State at this point. She's like 19. And he's asking the court if he could be relieved of paying child support to the mother because he is paying for her apartment and her at Starkville and her car. I mean, he's a good dad. Yeah. This guy's a good person. And then the judge said, I remember it was Judge Denise Sweet Owens, actually, and she looked at the mom and she said, look, he's doing this. It's a court of equity, right? So, like, he's doing this. Can you agree to just relieve him of that? And she says, no, I live on that, And then the judge said, well, under the law, I can't do anything. Which, you can tell the judge wanted to say, hey, but she couldn't legally do anything. And I think that's a problem that you would have to rectify. Like, if you've got a father that is, and I've heard this from a lot of friends of mine that have kids in college and that stuff, that's doing those things, that's paying, health insurance, paying for college, paying for living expenses, they shouldn't be paying checks to the mother anymore.
No, absolutely not.
That should be over. And that's something I think we could fix, like to maybe make this a little more equitable.
Again, it should not be your job.
Right. No, it should not. And then I 100% agree with them on that thing. Now, prior to the age of 18, look, there's no way to track, like, if you got to pay $400 a month in child support, I mean, you can't just sit there and do an accounting of what they spent that $400 on. You can't do that. That's not going to work. There's no way logistically to do that correctly. But so I feel like you got to kind of suck it up at that point, up into that age. But I think post 18 is where a lot of the issues arise. Between 18 and 21, we're still required to pay child support, and especially if they're going to college and those kind, and they're not, and you're still paying this woman. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, you're doing that. So, yeah.
We're back.
Yep.
Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, live here with Shaun YURTKURAN. This segment brought to you by our good friends over at A1 Gear and Auto. Guys, if you're having any automotive issues or you just need some basic maintenance done, basic upkeep, so you don't have any big issues, swing by A1 Gear and Auto. See Justin and his team today right there, Highway 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. They can take care of any automotive problem you have. The only thing they don't work on is diesel engines, but they'll recommend you to somebody if that is an issue. But what they specialize in, however, of course, frankly, they specialize in everything. They're just so dang good at what all they do over there. It just blows my mind. But what they're the industry leader in here locally is your ring and pinion. So if you're having any problem with your rear end, your front end, looks like deer season just got extended to February 1st. So maybe you tear up your four-wheel drive while you're out there stuck in a rut, trying to go find the deer, get to your deer stand, whatever the case may be. Maybe just out there having a good old time doing a little bit of motor riding, and you mess something up. Man, get over there and see Justin and the team. Let them get you taken care of. And I talk about it all the time. I haven't talked about it as much lately, but everybody runs out and they buy these big Jeeps or these big trucks, and they jack them up, and they put these big rims and tires on them, and they lose a lot of power. Like, man, why am I having a hard time getting up to speed, and I've lost my power to go around these vehicles on the interstate, and yada yada yada. I pulled out in front of somebody, almost got hit the other day. Well, yeah, because that factory ring and pinion ain't made for those 40-inch tires and those 24-inch wheels and all that stuff. You need to upgrade that ring and pinion, and you can't just do the rear end. You got to do the front end too, and it's got to match, or your four-wheel drive won't work. I don't mean to get in the weeds here, but this stuff matters. Justin and them can take care of all that for you. A1 Gear and Auto, Highway 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. As soon as you're heading, go through Richland, and boom, it's going to be right there on your right before you get to Gunner Road. All right, Shaun, YURTKURAN. Of course, as I assume, the child support conversation is always a very popular
I
one
imagine
on
so.
both sides of the aisle here.
I'm getting inbox messages as we speak on Facebook about it. Somebody corrected me, like, again, I'm not a Chancery family law lawyer, and there's a good reason for that because I don't want to do that kind of work. I mean, when I was working at the Hinds County Circuit Courthouse, the Chancery Court's right next to it, and back then, 15 years ago, I used to smoke, and we'd go on the side of the courthouse and smoke, and we'd see the people walk into Chancery Court, and we all call it the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Yeah. And we used to joke that, like, you're more likely to get killed in Chancery Court than you would in circuit with all the killers and criminals and all that stuff, because they can usually just accept it that they did something. But, like, you go in that family stuff and all this domestic drama, that's when the real pain begins. If I'm over there, I'd be worried about getting shot every day.
Sure.
Like, because it's just people are really angry. It's just a mess of anger. So anyway, that's why I don't do that. So I don't know what the percentages are. When I was in law school, I think it was 16%. And
Does somebody correct you on percentages?
Yeah, they said it's 18% now.
Okay.
So
Brent says on the Guns and Gear text line, but the reduced rate for additional children with same daddy insulates that daddy. Says the good daddy that stayed around for years, then she decides to end it. Yeah, don't quite understand the insulated thing, but I think I know what you're saying. Reagan says, a little unrelated here. Since Trump is handing out pardons, do you think Chokwe regrets boycotting Trump's visit in 2017? Yeah, Reagan, if you follow me on Facebook, I said that the other day. So I wonder if he posted a meme of him wanting to know where his pardon's at. And I said, yeah, you think he regrets stiffing Trump and then riding with Biden even after the "you ain't black" comments, and then supporting the East Indian woman and all that stuff? And yeah, it's coming back to bite him in the nose, and I'm here for it. Couldn't happen to a better guy. And I think it's a great example. Now, nobody will learn from this, Shaun. Like, not a single person in Jackson or Mississippi politics will learn from this. But, and Delbert Hoseman, for one, told him to go jump in the ocean or something. When the president comes to town, regardless of which side they're on, it probably behoove you to not stand them up, to not publicly humiliate them in some weird little stance for something.
Yeah.
Because, as we told you, Trump ain't a racist. Trump's not wrong. You're wrong. And lo and behold, it's come back to bite you in the butt. Your boy Joe, the dude you rode for after he said you ain't black if you don't vote for me, hung you out to dry.
Didn't George Flaggs was the only mayor around here that met with him that was a Democrat, right? If I remember that correctly. Is that right?
Yeah.
Out of Vicksburg. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, people gave him all kind of flowers for that. There's still white Republicans that, man, that guy, that dang old George Flaggs, he did the right thing, and he met with him. Like, yeah, let's not let that excuse him for how terrible of a mayor he is too. He's just one notch above Chokwe. With the nonsense. I got friends in Vicksburg, and trust me, it ain't all rainbows and butterflies over there either.
I don't think so.
So let's not let him doing the right thing one time blur our vision for what he has or hasn't accomplished over there either. So white Republicans get really, really bad about that, and we've talked about this before. Like, anytime like a black Democrat just does anything they agree with.
Yeah, I love him. Right?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Like, I ain't sold. I ain't saw it. And
but on the left, okay, I've joked about that for years. That you're right. Republicans do that whenever the black person agrees with them. They're like, "Look at this black guy; he agrees with us." But Democrats have that same habit with Republicans that like decide they're not Republicans anymore,
or decide they don't like Trump.
Yeah, they get them on like
Liz Cheney.
Yeah, right.
She's a patriot. She loves democracy.
But like 10 years ago during the Obama administration, they're like, "She's the most evil person ever," you know. So, I mean, and there's several other of them that are on. What's that guy? The former lieutenant governor of Georgia. He's always on CNN, you know. And it's like the Democrats have that habit too. They find the whitest person ever, like lily white, super white, who's like flipped. They're like, look, he's seen the light, you know. And Republicans do the same thing with black. So it's kind of funny.
You know who I haven't heard of? Speaking of those types, who I haven't seen a screenshot from or anything. Did all the Lincoln Project guys end up in prison or something? Like,
I haven't seen anything from them.
I mean, talk about a crew that's had to eat a big L.
Yeah, I mean, were they that active even during this election? Like they weren't like they were in 2020.
No, I mean, they were, because I remember I've talked about them and shared some of their screenshots and stuff. I won't share their posts directly because I don't want to help monetize them and then make any money. So what I've learned to do with these lefty nut jobs that are sharing rage bait stuff, or these right-wing fake Trumper, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just screenshot their post, then I'll share it.
Because you don't help them out.
Yeah, I don't help them out. I do the same thing on my Facebook. Instead of sharing a post, you know, it is what it is. I'll screenshot it, then I'll post it, and I make the money. So
I think that's a pretty good idea.
Right.
But I think that's true. It's kind of funny. But at least Flags was like, you know, I'll go. I agree that I think whether the president is not in your party or the governor or whoever, you know, maybe just have some. I mean, I'm big about decorum.
Yeah.
Like, and just, you know, and respect. Like, you respect the office. You don't have to respect the man, but you need to respect the office. And I think that's important.
The Delta Piper on YouTube says, I can confirm as a resident of Vicksburg, Flags is absolutely horrible. Yeah. And, you know, I'm hearing, well, I don't want to speculate. Look, we got to take a break real quick. Online, we're staying with y'all. Radio, we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Rip the knob off, as we like to say here on WYAB. Let's see here. Let's read some comments, shall we?
Yep.
Kind of circle back up. We got some Corinthian wrote a book here. I'm kidding with you, Corinthian.
He tends to do that. Corinthian, you gotta shorten up, buddy. Like it's you gotta make a little blurbs. We don't have that much retention.
Corinthian says Ward 1 is quickly heading in the wrong direction, which will jeopardize the future and its anchor neighborhoods. When combined with Ward 7, which has historically seen poor voter turnout, the complaint from these areas dominate the city's narrative. However, the disconnect is clear. People want us to bend over backwards for them, yet they fail to show up when it counts. Add to this the deliberate sabotage from local media bosses and certain so-called nonprofits who intentionally exclude council candidates from forums or debates, and it becomes even more difficult to cultivate quality candidates. I think, too, what we need to do is quit referring to these wards by their names. Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3. Most people have no friggin' clue what ward is what. They barely know which ward they live in.
Yeah.
We need to start picking an anchor neighborhood in those wards that you spoke of, and speaking of, you know, the such and such area.
Yeah.
Like Ward 6 is South Jackson. Ward 7 is Belhaven.
Yeah, Belhaven. I think Fondred's in
Belhaven.
Yeah.
Or at least start telling people, you know, Ward 7, Belhaven, Ward 6, South Jackson, so on and so forth.
Ward 1, Northeast Jackson.
Yeah, so people know which wards. It puts a face to the ward.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know outside of Ward 6 because I lived in it.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's because I don't know I know Northeast Jackson and Belhaven and I don't even know what Kenny's ward is, even though 3. I know where it is. 3.
I know it's 3, and I know it's Medgar Evers.
Yeah,
that's one of the other ones. I guess I do know that one, but I'm just saying, your average Tri-County area resident has no clue.
Sure.
And this show is more than just Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't like getting bogged down.
We should just do
wards.
Write it out somewhere on a note and then have it. You know,
yeah.
Because I can remember too. I mean, like I don't know. Vernon Hartley's got what? Is he Ward 4 or something? Or I don't know what that is. Yeah, the zoo.
Then I only know that because he was taking a victory lap for the frisbee golf thing.
He was, man. I tell you what. Now, I'll give Vernon a pass because he's been so anti-Chockway that they had to, at least he got something. You know, he's like, here's my disc golf course. You know, so but he's been he's one of the few people on the council I actually respect. I think he's kind of held the line.
Julian on YouTube says, good morning. Is the bill, the masturbation bill is pretty much DOA. Oh, yeah, it's DOA. It's just a waste of time. It's so ridiculous. So unwell thought out. And this is a great example of somebody that needs to keep better friends around them. And when they say, hey, do you think this is a good idea? No, it's a terrible idea. Do not do that. It's not going to go the way you think it is. And it didn't. It went nuclear hot nationally, and all of it was negative for him, with the exception of like some super progressive pages or sites.
Yeah, I didn't read the Daily Beast article. What did they have to say about it? Did you read it or just?
I mean, it was just a quick little side did. It wasn't nearly the meat and potatoes that I thought it would be, but it was their number one trending topic on there the other day. But I just think at the end of the day, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little crazy.
They weren't championing it for the abortion stuff. He was hoping that they would.
Yeah, that's what he was. Well, because I mean, it was like I was saying before. It was stupid. It's so stupid that it didn't push that conversation. And that's why I brought up. That's where we got in the whole child support thing. Where if you want to have a conversation about men's responsibilities with children, I think that's a good conversation to have. But you're not doing that by talking about you can't masturbate anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're just you make yourself sound ridiculous.
Well, that and then the no condoms in the city that is the number in a bill coming out of the city that's the number one STD city in America.
Right, exactly. It's silly.
We're coming back from break. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We got about a minute here before our top of the hour break. I hate to hit y'all with break after break, but what ends up happening is we get 4 segments an hour, and we run over on the first 3, so we give y'all maximum amount of conversation. But we had to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, so we had to take that 4th segment that in theory should be an equal segment, and we had to make it a short one. So that's why you get basically 12 minutes of commercials and 2 minutes of radio at the end of the hour and the top of the second hour there. I do hate that for you guys, but again, pick your poison. You want commercial breaks every 9.5 minutes, or do you want 15 solid minutes of good radio with some breaks? 15 solid minutes. Anyway, I digress. Don't mean to bore you with the burdens that have been.
Y'all are never going to let that go, right? No. You're never going to let that go.
Never going to let that go. Y'all almost elected the biggest idiot in the history of this country. And man, oh man, she is stupid. When we come back, we're going to talk about Democrat divorces. The people who were so worried about Melania leaving Trump are now all dealing with divorce rumors, including the crown king and queen of the Democrat Party, the Obamas. And looks like Barack is leaving Big Mike for a snow bunny. We'll be right back, guys. Y'all don't go anywhere. I ain't making you wait the full 7 minutes, but I got to do a couple things here real quick. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 2, the most incendiary show on the radio and online. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN. It's a FAFO Friday. Here, we like to celebrate our FAFO Fridays, and today is no different. I have set up a discount over on my website at buyfafo.com. No promo code needed. You go buy anything at full price. And you can get another item at half price, excluding hoodies. So any shirt or cap is available at half price if you buy anything, including if you buy a hoodie, a cap, a shirt, whatever, at full price. You can get another item of your choice, excluding hoodies, at half price. So swing by buyfafo.com. Hats are normally $30. That means you can get a hat for $15 if you buy a shirt at full price, or vice versa. Everything's priced the same except hoodies. They're expensive. That's why they cost more, and that's why I can't include them in the half off. I would have to mark the price up, and I don't like doing that kind of stuff. So at regular price, everything's like $30 other than hoodies, and you can get an item at half price for $15. So anyway, it's a good special. Go take advantage of it. It is good through the weekend till Sunday at midnight. buyfafo.com. Get you one of those cool FAFO shirts, the tag ones, or the Real American Hero G.I. Joe style that's been so popular. They've both been very popular, actually. So swing by, support your boy today, and get out and support these great sponsors here at WYAB. Tonight, starting at 4 p.m., swing by Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Enjoy some fresh, hot, made-from-scratch pizza from our very own Chip Matthews and his team over there in Fannin Mart on the res. You got, I think it's 12 different specialty pizzas, 9 different frozen daiquiris, and there's always some live entertainment going inside Acme on the weekends. So swing by, enjoy it. No cover charge, family friendly, but they do have a full service bar in there. You can get the daiquiris to go. That's right. You can get the daiquiris delivered or to go from Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Available on all major food delivery apps. Available for dine-in, of course, and as always, carry out. They're located right there in front of Fannin Lanes on the reservoir. All right, Shaun, YURTKURAN. Let's talk about Democrat divorces.
Yeah.
Like one thing we don't see in this country ever is a presidential divorce, current or past. And it looks like we're about to have potentially, I'm just going to go with these rumors being true for the sake of this conversation, we're about to have the Obamas, of all people, the royalty, literally American royalty on you guys' side of the aisle, potentially getting divorced, and it's going to be saucy. I mean, if the rumors are true, and these are coming from like people inside their circle, like this is not.
Yeah, it's not just
This ain't right wing scuttlebutt.
It ain't cat turd on Twitter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't right wing scuttlebutt. This is left wing stuff. I mean, say what you want about TMZ, but they're not normally wrong. They report saucy stuff, but it's usually right. And you're getting it from inner circle people like on The View and Meghan McCain and all these other places that Big Mike and Barack are on the rocks, and it looks like Obama. They're the Obamas, but when I say Obama, I'm referring to Barack.
Right.
So he's Obama, she's Michelle or Mike, whatever. So if I say Obama, I'm talking about Barack. I just don't say Barack.
Yep.
So Obama allegedly is having an affair with Jennifer Aniston, and this is picking up steam. She's cut off all the notifications or all the comments on her Instagram account because people are hitting her up, and people in the inner circles are suggesting that where there's smoke, there could in fact be fire. Shaun, what are you seeing?
Like I told you before at the break, I've heard this last week too, and it was not from just how we get on YouTube and there's all these little clickbait videos, and a lot of it's just kind of basically sometimes it reminds you of tabloids, the old school tabloids. But no, I mean there's some fire here apparently. This picture, you were mentioning this at the break, and it's on the Daily Beast article where people are commenting like you only post that if you really hate somebody, kind of like you were saying.
Oh, so what Shaun's referring to is that Obama posted a picture of him and Big Mike or Michelle. I don't want to offend everybody. Actually, I don't care. Anyway, posted a picture of Michelle and himself on one of their birthday dinners the other night, and it is an absolutely wretched picture of her. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're on the side of thinking she's a man, you got some ammunition with this photo because it is absolutely atrocious. And I mean, the sentiment from both sides of the aisle is, and just from anybody who's ever been married, you don't post a picture of your wife looking that bad on accident.
Yeah, the quote here is, "I would kill my husband if you put a picture of me looking like that with no makeup, with that kind of lighting on social media, especially considering who they are, the Obamas." And he said this lady said she'd kill her, one of the reporters. So interesting, yeah. And it says happy birthday to me. It was Michelle Obama's birthday dinner they were having.
So one of the other things, and let us make our case for why we think, remove Jennifer Aniston from the mix here, but why we think there's trouble in paradise. Mm-hmm. Now, the media and Michelle's camp is going to spin it that she didn't show up for the inauguration because it's her stance against Trump and she's tired of playing nice. Well, why didn't she show up for Carter's funeral?
Yeah, that's the one that doesn't. That's what kind of kills that argument, I think. Jimmy Carter, whether, I think everybody agrees his presidency was not very successful, obviously, maybe one of the worst ones. But as a human being, I don't think anybody disagrees that this guy was a really good person, but everybody, it reveres him as a human being. And why wouldn't you? And he's on your side of the aisle too. So you wouldn't go to honor that guy? Like, you would think you'd have to, as a former first lady, do that. And you didn't. And what was so pressing that you couldn't show up to his funeral? Like, what could have been so much more important? Did you have like a doctor's appointment that you couldn't? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was so pressing that couldn't be canceled to go
as
to
a
that?
former president and a former first lady, you got a few jobs that you have to do.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of your life, and it show up for presidential funerals and inaugurations.
Pretty much.
I mean, those are the only kind of like mandatory, hey, you got to be here, it's part of the gig, jobs. And she missed 2 inside of a month.
Right.
Really inside of about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's really, really strange. Like I said, she might have got past it was just Trump, and with that excuse or whatever, but you couple that with Jimmy Carter's funeral and just both of them, like you just all, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, and I don't remember, did you remember reading what her excuse for Carter's was? I can't even remember. She had a scheduling conflict or something, I remember?
I mean, look, I'll be honest, I really didn't even notice she wasn't there, other than the fact that it gave us the opportunity for that video of Barack and, I said his name, and Trump having a conversation that AI depicted, and we really got a really interesting conversation out of it. And to me, just letting my guard down a little bit here, it was the most human that Barack has ever looked to me. Mm-hmm. The like unscripted, real conversation, like two bros actually having a conversation. And frankly, it's the first time that I thought maybe he's not gay.
Whatchamacallit? Yeah, no, that was actually really good. The AI was really funny about that.
But Trump retweeted that.
He did,
and which made me think, hey, maybe this is actually real. I mean, AI kind of depicted it, and
they looked like they were having a good. You got to think about it. And I thought about that after I watched that. This is a football game, essentially, sometimes, right? It gets heated and nasty, and obviously the last 4 years have been with political prosecutions and those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, like Obama and Trump have their issues, but I think, they could probably sit back because there's not that many people that have been in their position in this world, right?
Right.
There's not many people that have been in that. So, like, who do you talk to about it? Like, that have been in that kind of position where I'm the most powerful person in the world. Like, it's hard. So I guess there's probably things that come up that are kind of funny that only the other person would get. Because they've had the same life experience that you've had. That's kind of what I took from that.
Agreed. So, I don't have anything to add to that. So you got that. You got, looks like Michelle and Barack are on the cusp of potentially the biggest divorce in the history of this country. I think, maybe not financially. I think Jeff Bezos breaks that bank. But culturally.
Yeah.
This is Charles and Diana.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. So CNN reported that she said she was on an extended vacation in Hawaii is why she missed Jimmy Carter's funeral. She couldn't get on a plane and come back.
Yeah, you have the means.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. So maybe they are gonna. It's gonna. How does that divorce work too? Like, I mean, it's not like your typical, like, you're not going to, like, extort each other, I would think. Like, you can't. I mean, this kind of positions. Now, there's one thing I was just reading, we were at the break, and I've known this for years, is that there has been some pent-up anger from Michelle because she hated being first lady. Like, she didn't want him to run for president in the first place. And that she really, really disliked her time in the White House. And that's just very well known. She didn't like it. The kids were young, that kind of thing. She wanted to be kind of more of a mom, is what I've always read. And she just didn't enjoy that at all, didn't like the limelight. And I think there's a lot of, like, resentment there over the years, is what I've heard in the past. So this makes kind of sense. Maybe that's, how relationships are. You build up resentments, that kind of harbor, and that's a big one. I mean, think about it, because this is something that sticks with you for the rest of your life, that you're with, and whether side the aisle you're on, you're always going to have the country hate you forever, and no matter what you do, and you got to deal with that. Yeah. Whether it's justified or not.
Well, it used to not be like that. Like, we used to not hate the first ladies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember Laura Bush catching that kind of hate. I don't remember
that either.
I don't remember Nancy Reagan catching that kind of hate. Maybe she did, because she was really out there with the drug stuff and all that. Maybe the left hated her because they love drugs. I don't know. But for the sake of arguing, maybe they didn't.
I know Hillary caught a lot of hate.
But Hillary, was a politician.
Right.
Like,
it's a little different. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
rare. Whether you agree with that or not, like
no, she was.
She wanted that. Like
Yeah.
she put herself in situations to be more than a first lady. It was she was getting on the job training, and you could tell.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mission for sure. I mean, yeah, she ran for the minute that Bill left office. She ran for Senate in New York in 2000. I mean, or ran that same year. He was last year in office. So, yeah, I mean, she was prepping.
Sure.
Obviously, I mean that's why she stayed in that marriage. Like this was a thing for her.
And I've told you this before.
Yeah.
I despise her as a human being, but I do respect her.
Yeah, she played the long game.
She did. Like she got in it. She played the long game, and she was almost president twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I
think she would have won. I think she would have won in 08.
I 100% agree with that. I've said that for a year. If Obama didn't,
whatever Democrat ran was going to win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no Republican was going to win in 2008.
After the two Bush terms,
yeah,
people were ready for change. Mm-hmm. Just like this at the end of this Biden term, people were ready for change. And frankly, a lot of people were ready for change at the end of the Trump. Like, you just knew, you could feel it.
You could feel it.
People wanted change, and they anointed Obama. That's the reason he wouldn't. Could he have won at a different time? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't know that I would say anointed, though. I've read several books on this back then. So the Clintons thought they had that thing. And Obama so Harry Reid, who was in the Senate at that time, kind of talked Obama into running. And he was kind of the secondary. Now, Bill Clinton actually made this comment. There's a book called Game Change, and it mentions it. It says that Bill Clinton said, this guy should be serving us coffee. He didn't mean it in a racial way. He meant it in like he's lower on the Democratic Party totem pole. We're first. It's Hillary's time.
Yeah.
So I think that like he wasn't. I think there was just like an insurgent, kind of like with Trump. Like there was an insurgent part. Like Jeb Bush was the anointed one in 2016.
That's a great analogy.
You think about that. Like he was the anointed one, and Trump was not. And I think Obama had a similar position where he was not. He was against the grain, and he just built up momentum, and people loved him. And and then Hillary, who was the one that was picked, just didn't get it. But I agree with you. I think she would have absolutely won in 2008 and would have been president. Just bad timing for her.
Just to tie it all back to wrestling, like I love to. I was watching the Stone Cold Rock Rivals on A&E last night, which, by the way, they loaded it up to YouTube. Go to A&E's YouTube and watch Stone Cold versus the Rock, greatest WWE rivals.
Yep.
And it's kind of the same thing. Stone Cold was the top guy.
Yeah.
And here comes this dude, The Rock, out of nowhere. Stone Cold had paid his dues for 15, 16 years in the business to get to where he was, and this dude gets shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And it's, and the crowd hates him, and they love him, and he's fighting for his spot, and inevitably The Rock kind of overtakes him due to injuries and some other stuff. A little bit different.
No, but I know exactly what you're saying. I love wrestling analogies, too.
It happens a lot in wrestling.
Yeah.
There's kind of the guy you think he's the next man up. He's going to be the anointed one, the champ, and it truly is anointed. It's earned, but it's anointed in wrestling.
Yeah, because it's not real.
It's predetermined, right?
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, somebody gets organically hot and gets over, and you got to go with the hot hand. It happened with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Everybody thought that I can't even remember who the anointed one was at the time, but Daniel Bryan got hot. And it was Roman Reigns. I think it was going to be Roman Reigns, but Daniel Bryan got hot, and they had to run with the hot hand, and he ended up becoming the yes, yes, yes movement and all that stuff. But anyway,
no, I know. I think that's it's a great analogy. Like and going
politics is professional wrestling.
It is. It's 100% professional, and I mean Trump kind of perfected that. I think the Jeb Bush. Now that made me think about two people, like Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush, are kind of like kindred spirits in a weird sort of way. Like Hillary Clinton put up all this BS. Like marries this guy, he's always having affairs on her. She's in public, that becomes public. She gets embarrassed. All this stuff, deals with him, and then tries to run for president in 2008, loses the nomination, then gets it almost 10 years later and loses to Trump. Jeb Bush, similarly, right, is the smart one, right? Okay, and he was the one that
with the dumbest name,
right? Yeah, the dumbest name.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, Cat Williams torpedoed his thing in one of his later stand-ups. He's like, "We cannot have a president named Jib.
We can't do it. Yeah,
we cannot have a president."
Well, so he ran for Florida governor in the 90s before W ran for Texas governor. Yeah, and he lost that race, I think, to Lawton Chiles initially, but so W wins governor of Texas, and in the Bush family, Jeb was the anointed one. He's the smart one. He's the good one. And so you get to see your drunk little brother become president of the United States, right? ruin the family name in the process doing it, and then you think, years later that maybe it's been rehabilitated and you've got all the money from all the Republicans are behind you, 100%, and this real estate reality TV star comes in there and knocks you off your. I mean, that's got to be. You know what I mean? Like
I know that's a Democrat talking point that Trump's a reality TV.
Well,
star.
I'm just using it.
Donald Trump is American royalty.
But I'm saying at the time
TV
he
star.
was. But you know what I'm saying? He's not involved in politics.
Yeah.
He's involved in entertainment, real estate. He had nothing to do with the political structure. I mean, it's kind of similar. And I'm saying thing about Obama. Obama was in the Illinois State House and was senator for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like he had no experience whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, and Hillary's got all this vast experience. Jeb Bush, Trump. Not saying I'm not knocking him like he wasn't accomplished. But.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun YURTKURAN. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Huey Magoo's. That's right, man. Best chicken tenders in town. They're the filet mignon of chicken tenders, to be exact. At Huey Magoo's, they serve up only the top 3% of premium chicken tenderloins. That's the tenders, if y'all don't know. Huey Magoo's, handcrafted tenderloins and are marinated for 24 hours and cooked to perfection. And you and your family will taste the difference. Huey Magoo's is not your ordinary chicken tender joint. Huey Magoo's also has wraps, sandwiches, salads, and meals. You hungry yet? I know I am. You know you are. Visit Huey Magoo's today over there at Bass Pro Drive in Pearl, right there in front of the outlet malls. As soon as you turn off Highway 80, right by the Sutherlands there, boom, it's right there on your right. You can't miss it. They're also located on Lakeland Drive in Flowood, right over there. I want to say it's directly across from the Walmart, but I may be slightly wrong. But in that general vicinity, if you get to the Walmart in Flowood down on 25, right around Castle Woods, Huey Magoo's is going to be right on the other side of the road. You can't miss it. It's right next to that Sliders place. Check them out, man. Really are great. I've eaten there 3 times now, I believe, and been blown away both times. Normally you get the grilled chicken tenders, and they're really dry, and they just do not taste good. Not the case at Huey Magoo's. The fried ones are phenomenal as well. So whatever you're trying to do, if you're on a diet, eat the grilled. If you're not, try the fried. Or hell, you don't have to be on a diet to eat grilled chicken tenders. They're just good like that sometimes. And they got some really good sauces. They got like a sweet, spicy one. I can't remember the name of it, but it is really, really good. Try that one. And, of course, like any good chicken joint, they got really good comeback sauce, so try it as well. I'm guessing it's called the Huey Magoo sauce. Everywhere tends to name theirs after their comeback version after the restaurant. So whatever it is, give it a try. You will not regret it. Great fries, too. They're seasoned just right. All right, Shaun, Democrat divorces.
Yeah.
Looks like I want to hit a couple topics this segment, so we're going to zoom through this.
Sure.
Looks like Kamala Harris may be next up, maybe first up in divorce land, leaving the guy whose name she didn't even take. And she blames him, allegedly, for her losing.
Does she?
Yeah.
She blames him.
Like in the inner circle, apparently she's blaming him.
What was he
for the
supposed to
loss.
do?
Well, I guess, first off,
Women blaming men for things. This is not a new concept.
No, I think it coming out about him beating old girl.
Oh, I don't think that's what put it over the edge
No,
for Trump.
I don't either, but
that was it.
But I think she thinks, from what I understand, and it makes sense, that it put her in an impossible spot to not be able to do interviews and to sit here and say all these bad things about Donald Trump, and then her basically being a hypocrite. Well, she put herself in that spot. He didn't put her in that spot.
Kind of mental gymnastics you'd have to go through to get there. For her to get there is insane to me. Kind of.
Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons she wouldn't do Joe Rogan. It's why they put up all these impossible scenarios for him to do it instead of her just coming and doing it like everybody else.
He probably wouldn't even got into that. Maybe he would have.
Oh, I think he would have.
Well, I guess you're right.
He would have absolutely had to. It would have been the backlash he would have gotten for her saying the things about Trump that she said, knowing that she's living with a woman abuser, versus a guy that's never at least been accused of even beating a woman. And she misbelieve all women after what she said about Kavanaugh.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And then she doesn't believe the woman who made the claims about her husband and doesn't even address it. Yeah, she had some mental gymnastics, all right.
But, I mean, she wasn't giving interviews before that story leaked, if I remember correctly. Like, that story was, later, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she refused to, go on any of these big platforms because she knew it was going to get brought up.
Yeah.
And I think that it created the situation where she couldn't because people weren't going to ignore it. So she was going to have to roll Imhoff under the bus, or no, she lost because she's an idiot, and she picked possibly the worst vice presidential candidate that in the history of bad vice president candidates. Why she lost?
I mean, I would say I think she was a bad candidate, and again, just like we just discussed, you could feel change was in the air, and that it was just she wasn't going to win because of those things. So I think her blaming her husband is a lot. Now, I mean, I'm saying it didn't help, but I mean, there's been plenty of times when there's been a story about a spouse or whatever that's come out, and the candidates won. George W. Bush, they released his DUI like 3 days before the election. I mean, there's always like some story that comes out, some October surprise on it. So I don't know that really had it. I don't think anybody that was going to vote for Kamala Harris was like, wait a second, I'm not going to do that because Doug Emhoff may have slapped this chick in France. Isn't that what the story was? Like he was in Europe or something?
Yeah. I don't disagree at all. I mean, Trump was going to win, but I'm telling you what she's saying in her inner circle is that she blames him on the
No, I mean, I get it. She's got to come up with something.
She's got to deflect.
Yeah, I mean, I would think she would have to do that. Yeah, that wasn't what I think they're going to get. I mean, and this may sound bad and I'm being judgmental, but didn't she marry him when she was like 50 or 51, 52? And she'd never been married before in her life. And she decides that her star is rising. So she needed to be married is the way it kind of looked to me always. This is before she ever ran for president. I was never, like I said, I wasn't a fan of hers even when she was in the Senate. And I felt like, and then she ran for president and she just looked like, one of those people like that looked in the mirror and said, I'm going to be president one day kind of thing. And like she did things her whole life to line that up, which I think kind of like we were talking about Hillary Clinton, similar to that. Jeb Bush, there's people that are, we see them all the time. We see politicians like this all the time that have set things up their whole lives and they don't come across as real because they've been plan they're on,
Yeah. Versus, being more spontaneous, I guess, or driven by the moment. Yeah, no, I agree. But here's the other thing. I don't want to get into why she's a bad candidate. She played the black card. She played the race card. She was married to a white dude. Telling black people basically, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Had Obama out there saying that crap. Black men, we need to. She's one of you. No, she ain't. She didn't marry one of us. She can't be one of us. I don't want to sit here and say that. Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, if you're going to play the race card, you need to be married to who the hell you're pretending to be. And I'm just going to be 100 with you. You're already mixed 6 different ways, and you're going to tell me you're black. You need to be married to a black guy. I know I'm not your voting demographic, but I just have to imagine that at the end of the day, that mattered. That mattered to dudes on the fence that you're trying to sit here and play the HBCU black card with. Like, yeah, but you didn't even marry one of them. You didn't even marry a brother.
I mean, I think they probably took it into account because Trump did extremely well with black males, especially. I forget, like 25%, I think he got, which is kind of unheard of. It's
unheard of. What, over 10% is like 8% is 7-8%. It's usually a really, really low number to get a 25% of black males. That's massive.
It was a very big number, and I think that probably dented into those kinds of considerations. Her personality, her. I mean, I guess maybe like, yeah, you're married to this white guy and you're trying to tell me I'm not black enough if I don't vote for you. Like it just did, hollowed false, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. So don't be surprised if in the next few months you don't find out that they're taking a leave of absence.
I also did read some interviews with because I was really interested in the minority votes for Trump post election, and they asked a lot of black men that voted for Trump, like, what was some of the reasons, and I mean they were like, something else. I'll paraphrase. It was like, I don't really care how black you are. Like, I care about like my job. This doesn't really mean anything. Like, if I'm not making money, which generally elections boil down to that for the most part. Anyway, so they were giving answers like, it was answers like, and some of this stuff, putting better than I can. They're saying like, stop looking at me like I'm just a black dude and I'm supposed to vote for that. Like, I'm somebody that gets up and I go to work and I take care of my kids and I pay my taxes and, I want them to go to college and I want to do, I want to own my home. And I mean, just like normal people want to do things everybody wants to do. So stop appealing to my blackness, or my Mexican heritage or whatever.
I agree.
I think that was
I think a large portion of America is just done with that.
Yeah, it seems like it to me.
And the large portion is, I think what you saw on Election Day proved that. I think people are ready to get back to normal. They want sanity. They want common sense. And I think that's what you got. We got to take a quick break real quick. When I come back, I want to get your idea on some of the things that Trump's done, some of these executive orders to kind of get us back to sanity a little bit, trying to renormalize normal in America with the gender, with the gender stuff, with the border, with the DEI nonsense. It's just all the things that went too far one direction. We got to bring it back to center, or even back to the far right, so it can get back to center. We got Shaun YURTKURAN here. We shall be right back on WYAB, the Clay Edwards Show, with Shaun YURTKURAN. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, get out to YURTKURAN in Gluckstadt. Enjoy some great, great pizza right there across the street from Gluckstadt High School. I guess that's Germantown. All these names. It's Gluckstadt, dang it. It's Gluckstadt High. It's Gluckstadt. Anyway, we just solved that problem. Anyway, get out to YURTKURAN. Look, man, did you know that along with their great traditional pizzas, they also have gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, and keto-friendly options that you can get, as well as they are on top of all the food allergy stuff. So if you got a food allergy, just let them know. They can get you taken care of at YURTKURAN. And look, I'm telling you, that's not as easy as it sounds. It requires a whole different area, a prep area, everything. That is a dedication right there to a bunch of you Karens out there who need to make sure your kids aren't getting any of their little dairy issues and stuff and their gluten issues. I'm kidding. I'm just picking at y'all this morning. We didn't have these things in the 80s when I was growing up. Your tummy hurt and you went on about your day. But anyway, YURTKURAN's got you covered if you have any gluten or dairy or vegan or issues that you may require. Shaun, do you have any nut allergies?
You gotta make me laugh. I said no, I don't. But if I say no, anyway. Dang
Walked right into that one.
I did.
Walked right into that one. Look, man, y'all get out to YURTKURAN and enjoy some great pizza.
We're still like 15 forever, aren't we?
We were 15 forever. 15 forever. Yeah. Anyway, man, look, YURTKURAN's great. Y'all get out there. Check them out. But we'll run down before we get out of here all the great blue plates available today at all of our blue plate sponsors as well on our What's for Lunch today. I had Martin's yesterday. I'll tell you what they got today. It was really good as always. Shaun, let's hit something. I had something else I wanted to talk about real quick. I keep talking about these damn executive orders. Let's just go to the big one yesterday. RFK, JFK, MLK assassination stuff has got 45 days to be released. I'm kind of disappointed. I would have thought they had already had it ready already. Mm-hmm. Like, go get the damn file and put it out there. Can we not do that?
Seems like they could, right? I mean, I'm sure I'm sure they're all scanned into a system at this point.
So have you seen the alternate video of the driver turning around and shooting JFK?
No, I've never seen that.
So it's been lingering around for a few years, and people have speculated that that's where the other bullet came from. And there's an alternate video of the Zapruder film that the driver turns around, and they even discussed it in American Octopus, in the Octopus Murders.
Okay.
On the Netflix thing, American Conspiracy, the Octopus Murders. Mm-hmm. It gets brought up. Some CIA woman. It's a documentary.
So the Zapruder film picked this up somehow?
The Zapruder film that we've seen, maybe, big maybe, allegedly, is a doctored one. That there's the actual Zapruder film shows the driver turning around and shooting JFK. I think I saved it to you can pull it up. You can Google it. Go to X. Go to your X account and be like real JFK. Figure out some kind of search. Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that it's the 100% the real deal. I'm just saying that it looks real, and it's been lingering around years before AI.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think in the 60s how they would have been able to do that. You know what I mean?
Let's see here. JFK film. Well, they made movies, and this is the government.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe like driver shooting JFK. Driver.
Yeah, but real JFK footage.
Type in driver shooting JFK in your search on X, and it shows it. It's the top video.
Okay.
And just, I mean, look, it's food for thought.
Yeah.
Because, the word conspiracy theory was birthed during the it was a slur. I mean, it was a way to diminish anybody who questioned the official government narrative. And clearly, there was a government narrative.
In that, for sure.
And this is what, whether this is real or not, Shaun, what this does, and when the government hides stuff like this and creates these conspiracies, is it creates the opportunity for people to believe this.
Right, I'm seeing it now. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And that's always been my thing. Mm-hmm. It's like when you lie.
Yeah, one lie begets another, right?
It makes everything believable.
Yeah, that's the problem.
UFOs, great example.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, like, because once somebody lies to you, then you're just going to question everything else.
You see the video?
Yeah, I just
what do you
saw
think?
it.
I mean,
it looks. I mean, the way whatever it's done, it looks pretty realish.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I don't know that that's. You know what? I'm not going to say that didn't happen this week. The JFK, and I've studied that for years.
And I'm with you. I'm not saying that's what happened. I don't want people to think like I think the moon landing happened. I'm not saying this happened, but something happened. Another bullet came from somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
We can all agree on that.
Oh, 100%.
Was it the driver turning around and shooting him?
It
looks like in this video, but
it looks like in the video.
How doctored is it? I want to know the history of the video.
Yeah. I'd have to get, I mean, if you see that, yeah.
Will we find out this is real?
I mean, did Jackie O see that and not say anything? I mean, that's the only thing I would do if you got a million questions on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, but she's turned around. See, she's not looking at him.
Yeah.
If you look at her, because he got shot in the back, right? Mm-hmm. Or whatever. I don't think they planned on the other shooter.
You talking about like Lee Harvey Oswald or the Grassy Knoll shooter potentially?
I don't think they planned on Lee Harvey.
Okay.
I think the Grassy Knoll was their plan, or the driver, or whatever. I think, in my opinion, I think that was the planned execution, and I think maybe Lee Harvey was the wild card.
I don't even know that Lee Harvey Oswald actually shot the weapon. I still to this day don't know
disagree.
That he did that. I don't think he probably did.
No, I don't disagree. I think there may be a third.
Well, he didn't really have any very good. He was in the Marine Corps, and he got the lowest one you could get shooting, and he wasn't like a sharpshooter or anything like that, and he so he didn't have any great sniper training. And you're talking about like if you look at that. The motorcade comes up on that front street. I think it's Elm Street, where he could have hit him in a front direct shot. But then he chooses to where there's a triangularization of fire. Like, it would have been stupid. It would have been harder for him to hit him at the book depository. I don't think he ever fired the weapon at all. I think the Grassy Knoll shot is where everything came from.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what happened. I'll be the first to tell y'all this is not a conspiracy that I have dedicated my life to. I believe, like most people, something happened.
Yeah.
That something other than what we're told obviously happened. And I'm very interested to find out. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm just as interested in MLK and RFK.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely believable, conspiracies there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure that.
And I think America needs this. I think we need a cleansing. Mm-hmm. We need some truth. We need to get some. I think the fear of releasing this forever has been two things. A, some people were still alive. B, now that they're not for the most part, I think they were scared that we would lose trust in our government agencies.
Yeah.
That's done.
That's done. We're at that point.
Mission accomplished. Mm-hmm. You did that already. I think you have to do this for us to heal and get the trust back in these agencies.
Yeah, I mean, and so when we talk about conspiracy in the JFK, it's already there's a House committee in the 1970s that already said there was a probable conspiracy.
Yeah.
So we're not like saying like, oh, they've already said that there's a probable conspiracy, and there's no way you can look at all the evidence. There's Lee Harvey Oswald was not, even if he did shoot, he wasn't the only one. He couldn't have done the shooting.
Me and you have talked about this whole conspiracy thing. It's very easy because I know you're not a conspiracy guy, but that word has been bastardized.
Yeah.
And me and you have committed conspiracies.
Sure.
Multiple times on this show.
Two or more people agree to do something illegal. That's a conspiracy.
Yeah, or just even talk about it.
Yeah, right, exactly. You need to overact most of the times, but yeah, right. Yeah,
we're theorizing conspiracies. Mm-hmm. And therefore, that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, conspiracy. So, I mean, two or more people agree to do something legal. I mean, and then, So I just think, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. It's been bastardized because of all these. There's some conspiracies that are just so wacko.
Yeah,
you know that you're like, okay, wait a second, and then you look at one I believe to be a real one, and I think you do too, the JFK thing, which is obvious. And if you look at it, and everybody wants to research this, there's so many different ideas of who did it, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's the obvious one is that the government's the one who did this because JFK was trying to pull us out of Vietnam on the front end, which was going to hurt the military-industrial complex because the whole theory is about Cuba did it or the mafia did it. They didn't have the means to do it the way this went down.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's
this was an inside job.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that to be.
We got to take a break. Online audience, stay on there because I want to ask Shaun a couple questions that we won't get in otherwise. Radio audience, don't go nowhere. Come back. We're going to tell you what is for lunch today when we return. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN. Shaun, real quick, during this break here, we got like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Birthright citizenship.
Okay. Ooh, that's going to take me a minute, but yeah.
Just more of a rapid fire here.
Yeah.
Do you think it will work its way through and the Supreme Court will allow him to stop birthright citizenship?
No.
I don't either.
No, absolutely not.
I would like for there to be some. Mm-hmm. It needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
Of course, I would like for it to happen. I just don't think it's going to. I'm just being realistic here.
Yeah.
What Clay wants and what Clay gets are going to be two different things here. I don't think it's going to hold up.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it.
I think it'll get shot down.
Yeah,
but I think, you know what? It was a campaign promise.
Yeah.
He did it. Whether it works or not, that's not his fault.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it sparks a conversation. Like, let's say you want to amend the Constitution. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah. But there's some questions about that being truly constitutional or not.
No, 100%.
Right?
There's great legal arguments on both sides that I've actually this week I delved into a lot of law review articles about kind of both sides of it.
So I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here. As a conservative, we love to say, so I'm going to say this, that I support overturning the birthright citizenship. And the argument is, well, when this was done, it was for slaves to be able to stay in America, right, and their children to be American citizens. And the nexus of it.
Yeah, right.
Well, and you could say, well, we couldn't have predicted that we were going to end up where we're at, right, with people just coming over here and having these anchor babies so they can be citizens.
Sure.
All right, well, as a conservative, one of the conversations, Democrats like to do the same thing with the Second Amendment. But we could have never predicted these weapons of mass destruction, these, assault rifles.
Everybody's got an Uzi, right?
And all that. And I'm like, and as conservatives, we like to say, our forefathers.
It's absolute.
It's
right.
absolute.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Right. Yeah,
so, I don't like coming across. I don't like being a hypocrite. I like to make myself question both sides. And it's kind of how I feel like I'm way more unbiased than people think I am.
Right.
So I'm trying to rationalize. Can I feel this way about my First and Second Amendments, especially the second, because the First Amendment is what it is. The Second Amendment, with the advancements in technology that we couldn't have predicted. Do I feel that firmly about that, which I do.
Right.
Well, just because it's an amendment that I don't agree with, do I have to say that do I have to carry that same energy?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what.
Even though I feel like
agree
it's more
exactly what you're saying, because I've been going back and forth on how I feel about it lately.
Yeah.
Because, I don't like this birth tourism, right? Like, that sounds bullshit to me. Like, but then I wonder, but what was the plain text meaning of it? If they meant that you're born here, you're a citizen, well, then that's the way it should be because it's in the Constitution.
We brought slaves. There's some difference. We brought slaves here, and they had children here. They're citizens. We brought you here.
Yeah.
You coming here on your own just to do this, like your birth citizen tourism?
Birth tourism people, yeah.
I think that's different than guns technology advancing.
Right.
For Americans to own guns. I think when it comes down to citizenship, you have a right, you have a path to legal citizenship. And I don't think having an anchor baby should be your path.
Well, I don't think for the
legal
people that do it, but what about the child? That's the issue, right? That the birth on American soil. I think that's the legal issue.
You just leave it here?
I don't know what you. Well, I mean, can you leave it here and it's already American? I mean, not leave it here, take it with you, but it's still an American citizen. I think that you could do that, right?
Yeah, maybe it has dual citizenship.
Yeah, or something, whatever.
If it wants to come back, it can.
Yeah, that's what I was. I mean, Well, also the 14th Amendment didn't apply to Indians either, right?
Yeah.
This birthright, like Indians did not get birthright citizenship.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a big part about that, and foreign diplomats.
Yeah.
So, like, the kids of foreign diplomats would not get birthright citizenship. That was in the actual intent. I actually gone through this for a bit. Yeah.
All right, welcome back in. Guys, we just had a great conversation there during the break. It'll be on the podcast later. Just search Clay Edwards Show, or you can go back and watch the live stream and fast forward to the very end there. And really, really good conversation that frankly, I wish we had started the show with. But neither here nor there. We discussed the Second Amendment and the 14th Amendment and how both have advanced beyond how anybody could predicted. We agree, I think, on that. Anyway, check that out. Check out lunch today. Swing by Martin's Gluck's Livingston location or downtown Jackson at the OG location. Today is Fried Chicken Friday. That's right. Most people do fish. Martin's does their award-winning fried chicken, and, of course, the full menu is available. Also, swing by any of the Three Burgers Blues barbecue locations. Every Monday through Friday, they have hamburger steak or red beans and rice as a fixed blue plate. On Fridays, they also have fried catfish, a Southern tradition, right there at all three locations. And don't forget, Burgers Blues Barbecue B3 Catering can take care of all your catering needs, and it's you can create whatever your heart desires, and they can make it happen. Reach out to the B3 Catering team today. But it's a Blue Plate Friday. Swing by any of the locations and get you a fried fish plate, or at Martin's and get you a fried chicken. And also don't forget the manship. We'll see you later. Peace.